Hey guys, Trainer DC here, coming at you with another video. Pokémon Legends Arceus is the second game in the Pokémon Legends series of games, or sub-series I should say, because they're still a part of the main core RPG franchise, but nevertheless, in the first Pokémon Legends game, Arceus, we had a different selection of starters in the Hisui region than we did in the Sinnoh region that we're familiar with. In the Sinnoh region, you have Turtwig, Piplup, and Chimchar, and in the Hisui region, there was a mix of starters such as Oshawott, as well as Rowlet and Cyndaquil, all of whom got regional variants for their final evolutions. So with that all being said, what will the starter selection be in Pokémon Legends Z-A? And honestly, I think there are 4 or 5 different combinations or variations that we could see in Pokémon Legends Z-A. So let's get into that. First and foremost, the first idea I initially had when I saw that we're getting another Legends game is that maybe we'll get a combination of starters just like we did in Pokémon Legends Arceus, and I started looking at the starters that are out there in the Pokemon world, and basically what I did was I removed any Pokemon that had a Mega Evolution or already had a regional variant. So that means the Kanto starters are out, the Hoenn starters are out, Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott are all out because they were the Legends Arceus starters, and in addition to that, since we're in the Kalos region, that would mean that the Kalos starters are out. So that leaves us with the remaining starters, which I have up on screen. The combination that I came up with initially, just on pure gut instinct, was Totodile for the water starter, Chimchar for the fire starter, and lastly Snivy for the grass starter. I just felt like those starters made sense in my opinion. For Snivy, it just fits the Kalos region. I just get French vibes from it, and we'll get into that a little bit later regarding Snivy. For Totodile, it's one of the oldest starters to not get something new, to not have any sort of regional variant or Mega Evolution or anything. So I felt like it would be fitting to see it get a new regional evolution in this game. And lastly, to round it all out, I just picked Chimchar because I felt like it just fits with the other two. I just like how that pairing looks like. There are other options out there as well, such as we actually don't get new starters in this game. We actually just stick with the Kalos starters that we had in the original X and Y, and I think that this is a plausible possibility. I've seen a lot of people initially just right off the bat say, oh, we're going to get regional starter evolutions in this game. And I kind of question that because we only had one Legends game. There really is no formula yet because one game, one time introducing these 3 random starters to get regional evolutions isn't a trend. They could do it again, but they could also not do it again. Furthermore, it made sense for Legends Arceus to have a different group of starters than the Sinnoh starters that we obviously all know and love. And the reason I say that is because the Hisui region had yet to be explored. It wasn't even called the Sinnoh region yet. There were no cities. It was all just wild terrain. So it makes sense that, given that we're exploring the region for the first time, quote unquote, it makes sense that we got a different group of starters because we haven't discovered Piplup yet. We haven't discovered Chimchar. We haven't discovered Turtwig. Instead, we have starters from other regions, which made sense. However, in this game, Pokémon Legends Z-A, we are a part of the urban redevelopment of the Lumio City. So Lumio City already exists, meaning that I would imagine they've already discovered Pokemon in the Kalos region, and we're not going to be making the first ever Pokedex in Kalos. I don't know how they'll all tie that into this game, you know, collecting and catching all the Pokemon, but we'll have to see in later trailers and reveals how they tie that all together. But that's why I think it's possible we just get the Kalos starters again, and they all get Mega Evolutions instead of regional variants. Another possibility, they actually do go down the Legends Arceus route again, like I was discussing earlier, but instead of choosing Totodile, Chimchar, and Snivy as I did before, a lot of people have been pointing out there are 3 random starters that actually have French inspiration to them, and that is Snivy for the grass starter is actually inspired by France culture, by French culture. Actually, all of the Unova starters are inspired by different cultures. Emboar is supposed to be inspired by Chinese culture. Samurott, or rather I should say Oshawott, is inspired by Japanese culture, hence it's like a samurai, right? And Snivy is supposed to be the French inspiration for that region. So people have been saying, what if Snivy gets a regional evolution or is the starter in this game for grass? I've seen people say Piplup for the water starter because Empoleon's name is based on Napoleon, who is a popular figure in French history. Then for the fire starters, a bit more iffy because if we're going off of the whole, yeah, we can't go choose, you know, somebody that already has a Mega Evolution or a Pokemon that already has a regional variant, then that kind of takes out the Hoenn starters, the Kanto starters, and it takes out Cyndaquil as well. well. So that leaves us with Scorbunny, with Litten. Who knows what they would pick out of that bunching? But another thing I've seen online is that people have been pointing out in the trailer for the Indigo Disc. If you look at it, and this one I think has the most credence and is the most likely to happen. If you look at the Indigo Disc trailer, they show the starters when they reveal you can catch them in the wild. The pairings that they show are quite interesting. They show Oshawott and Piplup together. Oshawott was the water starter in Legends Arceus. They show Rowlet and Snivy together. Rowlet was the grass starter in Legends Arceus. They then show Cyndaquil and Torchic together. Cyndaquil just so happens to be the fire starter in Legends Arceus. So is it a coincidence that we saw the 3 starters from Legends Arceus paired with 3 random starters, and then all of a sudden we find out the next game in the Pokemon franchise that they've announced so far is Pokémon Legends Z-A, where we might get another pairing of 3 random starters. I think it's plausible that this was a teaser, this was a hint for the starters for Legends Z-A, and it's gonna end up being Snivy, Piplup, and Torchic, and they will all get regional variants and maybe even Mega Evolutions as well, if not one or the other, or maybe even both. Who knows? Here's the interesting thing about all of this. As I said before, Snivy has its French inspiration. Empoleon's name is inspired by Napoleon, a popular figure in French history. So again, French inspiration. Torchic, on the other hand, where is its French inspiration? Well, if you think about it, when Kalos was first coming out in X and Y, when we were going to explore the Kalos region for the first time, Torchic was being heavily marketed during that hype season. If you remember, Mega Blaziken was given to you as the mystery gift for buying the game day one. You got a Torchic with a Blazikenite, and that obviously was a Pokemon that a lot of people used during their playthroughs. And the reason why, not only because they were teasing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the reason why Torchic was chosen as this Pokemon to be given to you at the start of X and Y, and it was given a Mega Evolution, is because the national animal of France is a rooster. And what does Torchic happen to be? It happens to be based on a rooster. Blaziken, Combusken, they are all a family of bird Pokemon that a lot of people say is based on a rooster. So again, Torchic, Snivy, and Piplup, who were all randomly thrown in with the Legends Arceus starters in that Indigo Disc trailer, all happen to have French origin or can be tied to France. So it's looking plausible that that might be the combination of starters that we get in Pokemon Legends Z-A. The last thing I want to throw at you guys is I do also think it's possible that we actually get 2 sets of starters in this game, and I'll combine 2 of the ideas that we just went over in this video. But if you guys remember, in the original X and Y, we got our Kalos starters, and then when we got to Lumio City, Professor Sycamore gave us our Kanto starters, and you could pick which one you wanted. I think it is plausible that they do something like this again. Maybe you start out with the Kalos starters, and then whoever the professor is in this game gives you the combination of Piplup, Snivy, and Torchic to choose from. There's also the possibility that all of the Johto starters just get thrown in there as well, and they all get Mega Evolutions, because a lot of people were speculating when Pokemon Z was going to come out that in XZ, YZ, X2, Y2, whatever you want to call it, we were going to get the Johto starters instead of the Kalos starters given to us by Professor Sycamore, and it would introduce Mega Evolutions for the Johto starters. So I think that one of those things I just mentioned, either we just get the Kalos starters, we get the combination of Piplup, Snivy, and Torchic, we get a combination of both of those. Maybe we start out with the Kalos starters, then later on in the game we get the starter combination I just mentioned, or even the Johto starters. I think one of those 3-ish things will happen, if not some combination of them. That's what I think is happening for Pokemon Legends Arceus regarding the starters. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. Who do you guys think are going to be the starter Pokemon for this game? Do you think it's going to be the Kalos starters, some combination of other starters that we didn't mention, or one of the combinations I mentioned in today's video? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from Trainer DC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.